Welcome to BTFD TV. My name's Jack Barnes, and if you've watched any of our episodes in the last 4+ years or so, you know that this is where I introduce Uncle Bob, and we start to talk about the things that have been going on. Obviously, since our hiatus, I don't think we've done an episode, have we really, since World Cup started, Uncle Bob?
No, I think that's maybe we did one just as it began, but
Okay.
it was
Pretty much since World Cup, we've been off air.
it was
Summer
similar.
hiatus.
I love the World Cup, and it was in the right time zone for me.
Yeah, it was. So this is our first episode back, and we have the one, the only Nicola. She's been a regular on the show back when we launched it in 2011. She's joined us once or twice since then. Welcome back. How are you?
Hey guys, thanks so much for having me. Very good.
You sound amazing. So whatever you did, it works. You sound great.
Good stuff.
First of all, this is where we go to Uncle Bob and let him ramble on about DC a little bit, but I want to be upfront and say that DC is pretty damn boring right now. I think we know who the lame duck is in town. I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. And outside of fundraisers or golfing or vacations, I don't know that we really have a dominant world leader at this time. I'll use those terms. Uncle Bob, what are your thoughts about DC at the moment?
Well, just despite the fact that I agree with you in the end game, I think there's been a lot going on. The House actually delayed their vacation by a day to come up with some plan regarding immigration, or the immigration issue that is currently emanating on the southern border of the U.S. It's not going to go anyplace, but John Boehner felt it necessary to pass something. What is readily apparent to me is that no one is capable of governing the United States. It is totally out of control. They don't know what they're doing. They don't care. The one thing I would like to point to, and it kind of dovetails with our discussion that we're going to have tonight, but is John Kerry got a lot of heat, particularly from Israel, on his initial proposal for a step down in the fighting in Gaza. In my estimation, that came directly from the president. That's just my view. So, I mean, we can sit in here and talk about. I don't want to go too deep into things, Jack, because I think we're going to touch on them all as we move along here.
Yeah. So let's bring our star onto the show. Let's bring the star in. You can unmute yourself. Nick.
Okay, I'm not the star.
Yeah,
I'm
you
really
are.
flattered you
Yeah, you
think
are.
that.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Obviously, there's some issues in the Middle East. Without going into too many details, the map I was looking at shows, starting with Lebanon, they have combat with Hezbollah, and this is the Lebanese army, and combat on their border with Syria from unknown organizations coming in and attacking them. There's Egypt, which appears to be pro-Israeli now with this government prior to the last one. There appears to be a falling out between Saudi Arabia and Qatar. There appears to be ISIS is winning some towns in Iraq when using American weapons, while the group that America is backing is using Russian weapons, and that'd be the Kurds. It appears that in Turkey, Turkey's involved here and there. Thoughts about the Middle East without going into, let's just say,
Israel.
who's right or wrong? Because I don't think.
No. I don't want to. I wish I'd never even started. But I suppose Yeah. Anyway, I think it's a tinderbox. It's very, very dangerous, and I don't believe that the Kurds are the only people that the US is backing either.
So who else would it be?
I'm old enough to remember Iran-Contra. Sorry?
I was going to say, are we also backing ISIS? So, both sides?
I think
mean,
we probably are, yeah. Well, no, ISIS and the Kurds, neither one of them are the actual government in Iraq, are they? So,
no.
We have a Shia-aligned government.
By the way, just a quick question to both of you folks: did the Kurds ever get that oil vessel unloaded down in New Orleans?
It was unloaded at sea, I believe.
Yeah.
Or no, that was a different one. The other one's anchored. That's right. There's like 3 of these ships that are out there with Kurd oil supplies. One of them did a transfer at sea, and 2 of them are parked. I haven't heard an update on that. That's a good question. There's millions of barrels of oil at sea, and no one has a title to it.
Details.
There's also comments that ISIS has made advances to the big dam where they could put a significant amount of water across northern Iraq. And so I guess my question is, and throw in Libya. I mean, what is there, 2-3 organizations that don't like each other there right now?
I think Libya's kind of far enough away for it not to be too ugly. But if ISIS get too out of hand, I could see another Iran-Iraq war.
Okay.
Except it would be Iraq government.
Iraq.
Yeah, Iraq. Well, Iraq. You said, who is Qatar? Are you talking about Qatar?
Yes, everyone has their own term for it.
Exactly.
I used to call it guitar, and someone said, no, it's not a guitar, Jack.
Funny.
So,
but originally, they were like Saudi and Qatar were the backers of ISIS, weren't they? So, they are quite good allies of the United States. It would not be, completely out of the question that the US was pushing funding that way. Is it?
Which would have us pretty much backing everyone.
Yeah, because originally ISIS were in Syria, weren't they? And we said no, you can't get involved, and they probably found a way to do it through the back door. And oh look, it's blown up in our face. So
yeah. So I guess first thing, Nick, what do you see as the nearest 3 to 6 month issue? Do you see a stabilization in Gaza after this engagement is over? Do you see a scenario where things are decaying over the next 3 to 6 months? I guess what I'm saying is there going to even be a echo of calmness?
I don't see a good outcome. I don't see a good outcome.
I've
never been, not for the Gaza people, I've never been more depressed about the prospects for peace or a two-state solution in my lifetime.
Your lifetime. Okay.
And that's quite long. So, no, very depressed.
So.
And I shouldn't, be laughing. I think, I mean, the UN said that the Gaza Strip would be unlivable by 2020 anyway if the blockade continued, and it's unlivable now, isn't it? So they said it's going to take a very, very long time to rebuild. And if this don't lift the blockade, they won't be able to rebuild it anyway. So that's. I don't know if there'll be a Gaza in 6 months.
And all right, so. Obviously, Turkey and Israel has had some issues in the past.
Yes.
When they used to be very close friends and not so much now. And there's storylines about Turkey sending a naval blockade breaking group potentially to Gaza. And doing so under the NATO flag, which Israel is not a member of. Thoughts about NATO and Article 5?
Oh, you mean an attack on Turkey would be, yeah. The people in the NATO who have the money and provide most of the weaponry, price drives the bus, and the people with the money decide what happens. And the United States would never attack Israel, would they, to defend Turkey? So.
Turkey has a second standing military in NATO at this time, and the largest one in the region.
Yeah, like I think it would be it would certainly sort out, who stood behind which side, wouldn't it? But
Yes, that's more of what I'm saying. I'm not saying who's
definitely.
going to win or lose. I'm going to
No, no,
saying
no.
that, that's a
There would be the line
scenario
in
I can.
sand, and people would have to take sides. So,
So does NATO stand or not? Becomes a real point of interest. What are your thoughts in other areas of the world right now? Let's look at economics first of all for a second.
okay.
Portugal just had Banco Espirito go bad,
Yeah.
and
I was really hoping that Portugal wasn't going to bail them out, but they are.
oh no, bad bank. We get bad bank again. Remember that
I
term?
know. I feel
Um,
like we've learnt nothing.
or we've learned how to recycle these crappy banks. We just call them bad banks and put a bunch of crap over there.
Yeah.
So I
They're not
guess
the only bad bank in Europe either. So,
no. I was going to say, what are your thoughts about banking in general in Europe at this time?
I do not think that we have found all the cockroaches yet, and this is just the first in a line. I think it's going to take a long time to sort them out, and there are a few more. I think that's
Um,
why they've been rushing to get the regulation through on the banks and the resolution. But yeah, no, this is just the first one, and there are bigger ones.
Nicola, I know that you also do trade some FX on excuse me on occasion. What's your view on what's happened with the euro of late? Kind of had a bounce back
I
on Friday, but
Yeah, and I think we might find some support through the summer because I don't think that the that the ECB will loosen any more until the autumn. But I definitely think that they will. I think they want to see what effect this takes for a few more months, and I think that that will stop the fall in the euro, but then it will continue to decline against certainly the sterling, the Swiss, and the commodity currencies. So that's my view. We'll see continued decline. We've just got having a pause or a bounce.
all right, I want to bring one out to you. You at least in the past used to like the liquid dark gold.
I do
Uh,
trade that every day. I trade my FX with quite a long-term view, but I trade crude every day.
okay, so
I don't tweet about it really because, yeah, like I
yeah.
have quite, yeah, I just, because that's what I do every day.
All
So,
right,
yeah.
so I'd like to go to that topic for a few moments.
Okay.
Thoughts on the fact that the U.S. is now the largest liquid producer on the planet, counting the natural gas liquids.
Isn't that
Uh,
amazing? If you'd have asked anybody 10 years ago, they would have
4 years
laughed.
ago, when you and I
They
did our
would
first
have
shows together.
laughed in your face if you'd have told them that that's how it would be. George Bush must be like. Anyways, we won't go there.
We won't go there. No, Dick Cheney. Remember, we always called Bush
Yeah.
the oil man, but really Dick was the oil guy.
Yeah, he really was. Well, he was the one he must have made a fortune, that man.
One would think so.
Yeah.
So my question is this: with the U.S. is ramping up a production, specifically the Bakken is now generically estimated to be well over 1 million barrels a day.
Yes.
The Eagle Ford is well over 1 million a day.
You know who did see this coming? Warren Buffett saw this coming when he was
with his
buying
railroads.
railways. He knew what was coming. Yeah, he did.
Williston Basin, no, not Williston Basin. The other one in Texas. Texas has 2 fields right now that are 1 million barrels a day. Basically, there's something like 9 to 10 fields on the planet that have produced 1 million barrels a day or more, and the U.S. right now has something like 3 of them active. Meanwhile, if you take a look at a map and you put a pin, okay, in the countries that have production and unrest, you can go on a tour of pretty much every OPEC nation, from Venezuela,
Yeah.
Nigeria, Libya, even non-OPEC nations like South Sudan.
Yeah.
Basically, everyone is producing less oil today who has capacity or had capacity, except for the big four on the Gulf.
Right.
And they're running it like near max production in history. What are your thoughts about the offline capacity that is being forgotten about, while incrementally every time the U.S. production goes up, someone has a civil war breakout and their production goes offline, so we keep producing the same 82 million? Have you noticed that?
Well, as you know, I'm a bit of a tourist, and I'm
A
a
bit of a
technical
tourist.
yeah, and I'm a technical trader. So like I read this because it's interesting, but it doesn't govern my trading decisions. So, but my tourist opinion of this is that really the US hasn't figured out a way to ship any of its production anywhere yet. So I don't enough. So I think that countries like Saudi Arabia go into overdrive when there's a problem somewhere else to keep it going. And I don't think that the US is that much of a factor yet. But I do think that that will come, and not very long either.
Um, so
Like, I think that you're shipping that much because that's how much you could ship. And as soon as you can ship more, you'll ship more.
Well, I guess what I'm referencing is, let's say,
Okay, perhaps I haven't got your question. It's quite late here.
so let's say the world's demand is,
Yes.
I'm making up a number, 85 million barrels a day. Okay.
Okay.
And, that goes up and down a little bit, but it's about 85 million barrels a day. And conceptually, at the same time, the U.S. is bringing 1 million barrels a day online per year that no one else ever saw coming, right?
And yet it's all getting absorbed somewhere?
Meanwhile, there's 7 countries that aren't producing oil anymore, or producing significantly less. Libya was at what, 1.9 million. Now, if they produce, it's 300,000.
But if there's more, then the price will go down, won't it?
Yes,
So
but
maybe
funny
you
enough,
secretly
it's
joined.
not.
No.
That's what I'm getting at, is that oil is staying high, and production is staying at exactly the same amount. For every barrel the U.S. produces, a barrel internationally is coming offline somewhere due to a civil war. Does that look funny?
Do you mean that's coincidence, or is that deliberate?
Yeah.
Well, perhaps they're not coming offline because of a war. They're just being taken offline.
Nigeria is 1 million plus barrels a day offline. Libya is 1 million barrels plus day offline. Venezuela has been a basket case for 10 years, but everyone agrees there's about 1 million barrels a day offline. There's 3 million barrels a day that are not online, that are very easy to... Oh, and then we have Kashagan, that huge one that they turned on and like all the pipes leaked because they didn't do a good job installing them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that wasn't very good, was it?
Yeah, it's $50 billion and 1 million barrels a day offline.
Oops.
There's a bunch of million-barrel suppliers here and there that aren't producing anymore, that extra.
Okay.
While the exact number stays about the same. To me, that's starting to kind of seem like someone somewhere says it is to our benefit to keep supply equal with demand.
Oh, you mean there's a cartel outside of OPEC that nobody knows about that the US has joined already? I'm sure there is.
Let's just say it's not hard to figure
Perhaps
out who the
we're
members
already
are.
in OPEC and we don't know.
Let's put it this way. Dakota, right, is the equivalent of a medium-sized OPEC nation now.
Yeah, on its own. Exactly.
On its own. And we're not talking one of the smaller ones now, but actually one of the more major ones. And it's still growing. And there's still a lot more production that's going to come online in the U.S. over the next 5 years, in my opinion. And so the question is, never in prior history have we had one of these scenarios where, for all intents and purposes, new incremental production rapidly hits the market, and magically production falls off at the same rate, such that prices just stay high. We've always had prices go down to $10.
Well, I
Do you see
don't
it
know that.
happening this time? Do you see
I
it
don't
happening
know
this time?
that prices are that tightly connected to supply because there is so much money and speculation involved in oil. So the correlation is quite loose. That's my belief. So
I'm not arguing. You're the professional oil trader.
no, well, yeah, no, I told you I'm a technical trader. I'm a serious tourist. Yeah, no, I'm a technical trader, but yeah, like, do you even trust the numbers? I think they're complete bollocks every week. So, to be
Yes.
honest,
Yeah. No, I
I'm
don't.
not sure I even trust the numbers.
I did follow it 10 years ago, and it's been probably 18 months since I think I even glanced at when the numbers come out now.
Right.
So, all
But
right.
do you trust the world supply? Do you trust the supply numbers? Are they about the 1,000 barrels off and your supply increasing? Do you trust those numbers?
I'm going to say that there's enough nations that have dropped their production by 50 to 80% from historical terms that enough of them are starting to make me go,
But that's a bit odd, isn't it? That we've had, oil above $100 a barrel for quite some time. They should be making out like bandits and pumping, and they're not.
And they can't because there's military organizations running around inside their country blowing shit up.
Right, that's a bit of a shame. Then.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think it's a mess. I think it's just a train wreck.
Is it worse than American politics?
No, nothing is worse.
Okay.
U.S. politics is a game unto itself.
If there were no geopolitical pressures, oil would be at least $30 a barrel lower than it is right now today.
I completely concur.
That is the only reason it is up there. And when you look at a chart, we're really balanced. Like the pressure is all downwards, and the only thing that keeps pushing it back up is the geopolitical concerns. And so that's what makes it go up. And when that comes off, we go down again. That's all it is.
Nicola, I'd like to ask you this. Although I know that you're a technical crude trader, I appreciate your acumen. With fracking technology, I mean, assuming the U.S. providers of the technology are able to move it on, into the Middle East, Europe, Asia.
Yeah,
I mean, are we looking at a boon of oil?
Yeah, and it's not just oil, it's liquid natural gas as well. Like, there's a lot of talk here about importing the price of gas has got so ridiculous here. And if it does really kick off with Russia, we could import liquid natural gas from you. Or
Spain. Did you know that Spain is like the largest exporter of LNG in Europe, and they don't even have a gas field?
That's Jack's favorite point. He keeps bringing that damn thing up. It's the third time.
Hey, I haven't used it in months.
Yeah.
All right. So, what do you think about Russia right now?
It's all going to blow over. Well, come off it. The American government shot down an Iranian airliner, and it all blew over. This will all blow over. The Crimea will all blow over. We won't get it.
And Putin's internal ratings are sky high. They're higher than they were under the Soviet system.
Yes.
Look, that guy that they overthrew in Ukraine was corrupt, but we should never have stirred them up to overthrow him when they have a democracy and they could have voted him out at the next election. It's ridiculous, really. And 65% of the people in the Ukraine are ethnic Russian and speak Russian. So, I don't see how we'll ever win. Let's not pick a fight that we can't win.
I'm not arguing.
And there's no ability for the United States or NATO to really go in there. They
Exactly.
don't have the capacity.
No, we don't. So, No, I think it'll blow over. So
What
How
about
long does Putin
Scotland?
stay? How long does
hope-
Putin stay in power? That's what I want to know.
For a
I
lifetime.
heard somebody speculate today that he may be in for 2 decades.
Easy. Easy.
I think he easily could, yeah. He's not very popular with everybody, but he easily could. He's well protected.
Yeah, including a food. He goes all the way back to the old. I have a chef who eats all of my food or he dies.
Exactly. Ukraine, I wouldn't like to see. I don't know. I'm not sure that Ukraine might not end up in civil war, which would be not good. But the worst I think that would happen then is it splits east-west.
Yeah, I mean, I think
Balkanization.
Yeah.
España should be top of the radar screen as far as I'm concerned.
Spain?
Yes.
No, Scotland. I want to go to Scotland now.
Well, Scotland, the poll numbers have
The
changed. Have
votes
they not,
first in
Nicole?
Scotland. Let's see what Nick says about Scotland. Are the Scots leaving or are they just playing bagpipes?
No, I think it'll just be like Quebec and Canada. Lots of noise, but they won't leave.
All right, a lot of bagpipes, no one actually divorces.
Exactly. It would be. I would be shocked if they did. I mean, good luck to them all. It's up to them.
Good luck.
Well, the polls have changed. I looked at the polls. Was it yesterday? The polls have really changed against. It was running at 49%, but it's all of a sudden moved to like 46.
Has it? I don't
That's
know
new
that.
to me.
Was it really as high as 49? That's
It
quite.
was.
You know, if they did a poll and if actually the whole of the United Kingdom voted, then the rest of us were going to vote them out, which would have been quite funny.
Well, I'll tell you though, what you do have an issue, Jack, which is a similar timeline to the Scotland issue in
Spain.
In Spain,
Yes.
I think they're going to go.
Do they get away?
Well,
Do they
that's
escape?
another matter.
So, Nick, what do you think about?
Okay, no, seriously, why are we talking about Spain? What's going on there that I don't know about?
They're having their independence vote in October, November.
No,
for Catalonia.
September.
Did they move it to September?
I believe it's September 24th. It sticks in my mind. I could be
You
mistaken.
mean to leave? You mean to leave the EU?
Well,
No.
Spain, but they want to stay in the EU, but the EU said they may not be able to stay, and so no one knows the actual definition.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, they're going to have to reapply or some nonsense, you know.
Well, the same for Scotland, so that
Yeah.
is true. If
Yeah, so
Scotland
there's
leaves-
2 votes in 2
But
months.
I think we should just give Scotland our membership. They can stay in the EU and we'll
Ooh.
leave. That'll be great. Everybody will be happy. And there's like no problem.
So,
That's the funniest thing I've ever heard. That is hilarious. I love that one.
what
Jack,
is
you got
the
to capture
independent-
that.
I know. I'm going to come back and grab that sometime. What is the what is it? The UK party, the independent party?
The United Kingdom Independence Party.
Yes, the UKIP.
UKIP.
UKIP. Are you a supporter of them?
I have actually campaigned for them. I've gone door to door, knocking on people's house doors, campaigning for them, and I did actually drive people to polling stations to vote for them as well. So I think that, unfortunately, counts
I
that
think
they
we
do.
know where you stand on that topic
Yes, yes. Do you know that people called me a racist?
A racist.
I've been called a racist for a long time for that, yeah. Because we have no immigration controls at all. People can come and go, and they don't even have to show their passport at the border. Like, it's ridiculous.
Oh, you mean it's like in Texas?
It's like driving from Oklahoma to Texas, yeah. Except they're
No, I'm
coming
talking
from.
Texas and Mexico right now. Sorry.
Oh, really? Yeah. Well. Yeah.
Well, no, but the Border Patrol really exists about 40 miles in. That's where you get caught, Jack.
Yeah. Just not at the line.
Just not the line, yeah.
Try that in Canada, though. I guess some Eagle Scouts crossed the border, and some of our Americans, I'll just say less than best border agents, pulled a gun and pointed at a bunch of Eagle Scouts that are 12 years old. Just some unacceptable behavior.
Oh my God. Well, you still have unmanned borders though, port crossings, don't you?
Oh,
In, like
yeah.
Vermont
Yeah,
and places, and
there's all kinds of
like
places
loads of them.
in Canada where, farmers till both sides of the fence and there's no fence.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, but Jack, apparently they have put monitors in those in the ground in those areas, and that's I bet how they caught those guys, or they caught those kids.
Those kids were at a border pull across. It was at an actual,
on,
like, one of those things.
How is Canada any threat to you? Really?
Oh my God,
It's ridiculous. It's
Have you tasted their Canadian bacon?
It's delicious. And have you tried poutine? Delicious.
Hey, I heard that someone knocked off their strategic maple supply, and like panic broke out in Canada because we have our strategic oil supply. They have maple syrup, and someone like tapped. I'm not joking. It's a real story.
Do you know that they've discovered they've been making maple syrup all wrong, and that, well, not all wrong, but there's a much more efficient way to make it, and so you can make much more.
Really?
Is that why the price collapsed?
Yeah, no, really, it did, and that's why. Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
That intrigues
I
me.
was being a smart ass.
You don't need mature trees anymore. You can take it from sapling. They've discovered a way to get it from saplings, smaller trees. So.
Oh, that's good. They're just, drilling holes in poor little kids' trees now. All right. So, Nick, what would you like to talk about? We're into the second half now. This is obviously our.
So there's no other guests coming, and I can't go to bed now. Okay. Then.
No.
All right.
No, we can call it an early show. It's the August show. And unfortunately, our prior guests.
Everybody else had a punch up before it started.
Yes, and without going into details, we are the three standing spokespersons at this time. So if you're done and it's late, we totally understand.
No, that's fine. I'm just very grateful that you didn't ask me to, talk about the Middle East.
No, outside of generic topics.
No. And, and if anybody's listening, like I don't hate anybody. I hate injustice. That's all. No hate. Peace and love, everybody.
And love. Peace and love.
Exactly.
All right, Uncle Bob, do you have anything to say, or shall we do a short episode?
Well, I just think that,
Oh, never mind, I'm cutting you off.
Are we not going to talk about anything exciting?
I'm teasing.
Hey, Jack, have stocks topped or not?
Have stocks topped? That's a great question. I believe so, because I just started a new tracking portfolio.
Yeah.
And it was up just enough that I'm ready to start committing family money to it. And so things have gone down pretty much at that moment. So one could say, yes, the top is safely in. Barnes is ready to buy in.
The my dad indicator piled in 4 months ago. So this year it is going to top. Yes.
Oh, I'm always early, and I did it 2 months ago. So yeah, I'd say this market's about pin time. But we also still have the August shakedown before the boys return in September to buy back in, right? So I could see a nice 8% move down, and it goes from a sell the rip to a buy the dip, and you don't know when that happens.
I don't know if we go. Here's for me technically, if we go 8% down, the high is in for the year. Like there's no way we get back up there. I think that if we stop where we are here now, or don't go that much further, then we will see a new high before we go lower. But I think that the damage to people's confidence is done. But there are just far too many people short. The boat is far too full. The put-call ratio is ridiculous, and
so it's like insurance.
Shake it all around a bit.
It's like insurance in late 06, 07. You knew something was coming, but it didn't pay initially.
Yeah, like I think we might go a bit lower maybe next week before we bounce, but if we bounce here, then there's a good chance that we see another high before we go lower. That's my view. Yeah. If we If we do 8%, yeah, we're not getting with the hires in for the year. So that's
All
my
right.
view.
Uncle Bob, what are your thoughts? Where's your money?
Well, I mean, I have been, in my major trading account, I have basically been flat since late April, because,
Since World Cup. Sorry.
well, almost. I mean, I made a few plays. I've been rewarded over the last week and a half, but, I mean, I think I'm 97% cash right now, or 98% cash. But I agree with Nicola's view. I'm getting ready to get back in. I would love a nice sell-off, but there's
You'd
no
like
place to
the
put cash.
8% entrance.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I in some of my longer-term portfolios where I had slimmed down quite a bit, I'm kind of gently legging back in, to stocks that will come back first. So, but I don't know where does the money go otherwise.
Yeah, that's true.
That's what I ask myself. I mean,
But bonds and stocks went up together. There's nothing to stop them going down together, and gold too. So that's.
What do you think about the non-corruptible metal?
Oh, let me just pull that up because
let me take a look at that. As soon as you said it, I pulled it up.
It's a horrible. We're in it since the middle of last year. We've just been in this wedge. It's almost gone too far to be like an Elliott wave 4 wedge, and so I think that it resolves higher, and we probably end up testing that sort of it's like 1500 before we go lower. There's a good danger. That's my view. So I'm a little bit bullish, actually.
A fear trade could develop.
But we're still in the middle, and they say don't diddle in the middle of these patterns. You want to see which way it's going to go. But yeah, I'm leaning bullish. I'm leaning towards buying buy setups and trying to hold on for the ride.
Okay, interesting. That's actually nice to know. So next question: when are you returning?
Sorry.
When do you return? When do you return for the next episode?
Next episode? Well, I'll come back next week if you want. I'll come back next week. Yeah, I just.
Okay.
I'll get some more sleep beforehand.
Yep. All right. So in that case, we'll let you off early this time. And we'll line up some more guests. But we want to thank you for helping us return to air after our long soccer hiatus. Football. I'll even say it that way. Our football hiatus this year. Uncle Bob, any last closing minute thoughts?
No, not much to say, Jack. I'll just. I was so happy to have Nicola join us this evening. That it made my day.
It made mine too. It was a pleasure to return to our round table and sit back down and start throwing barbs at you again. I've given you way too much time off, sir. So until next week, when I'll have some zippy lines for you. And Nicola, after you get some sleep, thank you for joining us.
For you next time.
Very good.
Yeah.
On behalf of BTFD TV, my name is Jack. That's Uncle Bob, and that is the one, the only Nicola. And we will be back next week, and we'll be talking about events in the world. One of them that we'll discuss is Ebola, however it's pronounced correctly. Ebola. Let's actually go there for a few seconds before we hit the off button. Quick thoughts. Is it out of control? It's a little spooky when all of a sudden you see American doctors flying home in private jets. It appears to have gone from we can stop it to we're the hell out of here.
No.
Does it burn out? Does it burn out? Does it continue on?
It burns out. It's not like the first time it's happened.
Correct. This is the worst, though. So my question is, does this burn out while it's still easily controllable in 14, or are we still talking about this in 15?
I think we're talking about it again in 15. But if you don't know, Jack, the CDC, the Centers of Disease Control, sent 50 people over to Western Africa today.
Oh,
So,
I was unaware of that. So we're
yeah.
deploying now the troops.
Yes, indeed.
Okay.
Highly skilled,
Well, then
highly knowledgeable individuals.
all right, so let's bring this topic up as the key topic to start off our generic conversation for next week, and we'll do an update of where it is now 1 week later since we've deployed professionals into an area that doesn't have medical professionals.
Seriously though, do you know how many more people have died from malaria than die from this? I mean,
In ginormous numbers.
It's one of these things.
yeah.
Okay. You know, what I saw one of those where it's like death rates in America, and what causes death in America in guns with 300 million people is this number, and then you look at these other things that are like this tall. But we focus on the marketable one. On that note, as the BBC guys like to say, on that shocking bombshell, we're out of here until next week.
Bye.
This is BTFD TV. I'm Jack. That's Uncle Bob. That's Nicole, and we shall return again soon. Thank you for joining us.